what are some thoughts we'd want to leave people with, Rodney, about why is addressing our shame so important to the recovery journey?
I think as just people of faith, we would just say it's what the scriptures call the healing of our souls. It's, I recently did a talk on healing, Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals, and seeing healing not just in physically, but in mentally, emotionally, relationally, such larger aspects of life. Because I think at the end of the day, death is something we're all going to face, but it's so beautiful when we can face some of those internal things before we die. And I think it's that when we do that and we start to heal on the inside, to me, I find that's the greatest gift we give to those in our world, is healing on the inside and really transforming into other-centered, self-giving love and seeing our worth and value so we can proclaim the worth and value of others. You are the beloved of God. You're worthy of love. And I'm excited to see what Christ has for you and why you're in this world and how you're going to make his kingdom established here and now.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the older I get, the more I just say, yeah, that's truly helping our kids, Nick. That's way more than a college education. That's way more than resources or, certain things. Is just that sense of that internal healing. And so that's why I say to my guys, I've been in recovery for 26 years. Why would I stop now? There's still more to do.
Right.
And I love when I see, the tribal elder still growing and still being humble enough to learn and grow and still learning pieces of the puzzle. And we have a number of those that are connected to our ministry on a lot of facets who serve and give, and whether it's board members or in development, and it's fun to watch them still growing and learning and having those kind of relationships,
I think shame is important to address because in order for us to really pursue our own healing, we have to believe at some level we're worth that effort, that we are lovable enough to be honest with other people, that the Lord cares for us so deeply that he's created a path toward freedom away from this. And I really do think that that's why addressing our shame, to me, this was the one thing that once I learned how to unlock this, it's like, it was almost like this brand, you used to play video games, you go to the next level. It was like a new level opened up I'd never played before. It was almost like I'm playing a brand new game I've never seen before, and it's unbelievable. There's so many opportunities and possibilities. And once I got a taste of that, it was like, I need more of this. I need more of being honest in community and people accepting me. I need to create this culture everywhere I go, and so I think that that's why it's just so important. I know in my own story, it was the one thing that once that switch got flipped, I was like, oh, okay. Now I know where we're going. I can see where we're headed.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think I'll probably bring this up in every one of these episodes on these 5 key principles, but it's really, again, asking the question, what is the point of our recovery? It's not just to be free of a behavior, but I would define it. It's really coming to a place where we're able to see ourselves as God sees us, and we're able to live as he invited us and made us to live in this world. And ultimately, I don't think that's a completed process until eternity and perfection, but along the way, that's what recovery is for, so we can live fully into that. And we're not going to arrive there if we're still dealing with shame messages that cause us to believe I'm bad, there's something wrong with me, I'm no good, I'm worthless. And so it's allowing God to deal with that shame in a way that creates the freedom you're describing, Trevor. I mean, I've mentioned Adam and Eve in Genesis 3, the beautiful thing that sometimes gets missed in our preaching because we, just focus on the front half. And then it's like, oh, there's these unfortunate curses and we maybe don't get to the end of the chapter. But it's at the end of the chapter that God takes the skin of an animal. And as I think about it, that's the first death in our universe was God putting one of his creation to death so that he could cover Adam and Eve, that God could clothe them. And I really think that is a picture in the Old Testament of the covering of Christ that is ours. The New Testament says that God made him who knew no sin to become sin for us.
Incarnation.
So that we might become the righteousness of God. And that's a beautiful biblical verse that says God, through Jesus, opened a pathway for us to see ourselves as he made and designed us to be. And that's freedom. That's life and relationship for eternity. And if that's the goal of our recovery, then it's like, well, the only way to get there is to let God and through often other people heal my shame. so that I can live the ways he's called and made me to live.
That's flat good preaching right there.
And
Nick.
That is an excellent way to end.
Storing that up.
This-
After
One
2 months
friend
of
said it this
sabbatical.
way: God has such a high view of humanity that God became one of us.
Yeah.
And that incarnation, that's exactly what Nick said. The incarnation to me is the good news. That it's not that you can receive Christ into your life. The good news is that Christ has received you into his.
Mm-hmm.
He got you. God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself. And so we've been fully embraced by God in Jesus. And wow, what a great way to heal our shame.
Yeah.
And Jesus did that in everyone he
Right.
touched and everyone he met.
that's-
Yeah.
And we've shared all those
So
stories
good.
here before.